Hey everybody, it's Topwater Johnny, and in this video, I'll be talking about my 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. Look at that. That's a lot of cover. Let's check it out. Whoa, there we go. Yeah! Woo, holy cow, folks. Topwater Johnny here, man. This is what we came here for. Look at that. Get back here. Look at that right there. That's the kind of beast that we came here for. There we go. Woo! And that one hooked. Hey everybody, it's Topwater Johnny here. I want to welcome you to the next video. And as you saw from that intro, this one is my top 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. And as you saw in that intro, that's a lot of cover. So what I want to do in this video is talk to you about my top 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. And I've got 5, but there's always a few others that I like to weave in there just because they deserve honorable mention. So let's go ahead and get started with my top 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. All right.
5.
All right, my number 5 topwater lure for heavy cover is the 13 Fishing Trash Panda. That's right, everybody. 13 Fishing Trash Panda is the lure that would be my number 5 here. If you're going to fish heavy cover, it's important to have a frog that can actually get through the lily pads, but also is big enough and wide enough and heavy enough to sink down within those pads, because you've got grass, you've got lily pads, and you may have also other debris. And you need a frog that actually, when it lands, it really can drop down in there and sink in good, but then also at the same time have soft enough hooks so that so that you're able to get a really good penetration and a good hook set, as you can see right there. So I really like the 13 Fishing Trash Panda. Plus, they've kind of got that little stencil in there as well, which is also a great attractant as well. When you're doing those lily pads, I tend to, because it's generally during the morning or mid-afternoon, I like to have that white bottom so that when the fish are looking up, they can see this, because if the sun is beaming down, then they can see this right here, and that gives them something to key on. So my number 5 topwater lure would be the 13 Fishing Trash Panda frog right here. All right.
4.
All right. My number 4 topwater bass fishing lure for heavy cover is the Berkley Power Pop 70 right here frog. And this frog right here actually recently came out this year here. And it's actually a very soft, spongy frog right here. Singular hook right here that, as you can see right there, singular hook that comes with it. And this actually, when you buy it, actually comes this way. And so this frog is a much bigger frog right here, but it's got that cup popping mouth right there. And I really like this one because this is one that you don't have to be that great when you're in the lily pads and in the slop. You can just sling it in there, because it's pretty much weedless when you throw this lure right here. It's pretty much weedless. So once it hits, you can simply drag it across those lily pads and then allow it to drop in to those spots. And it's got these, and these are more like rubbery right here and more rubber-like. And these flare up as well. And this one is actually a really soft but yet hard rubber. And so this lure will sit there in those spots, and it's a popper. So therefore, because it's a popper, that means you can pop it along and chug water at the same time. So one lure, you're able to kind of run it through there. This one, you can stop and chug. And that's why I like this lure. And that's why this is my number 4 topwater bass fishing lure for heavy cover. All right.
3.
All right. And my number 3 topwater bass fishing lure for heavy cover is, it's on the screen, the Heddon Moss Boss. As you can see right here on the screen here. The Heddon Moss Boss. Now, I want to show you the lure, but I don't have the lure because I don't know where it is. But what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a quick review of the Heddon Moss Boss right now. Okay, here it is, the Heddon Moss Boss. It's about 2.5 inches long from the tip of it to the actual end piece here. It's a 1/4 ounce in length here, has one singular hook, and as you can see, it's secured by a screw here. So it has a little screw lock that secures the hook and the skirt together. When we flip this over here, you can see that it's smooth on the bottom here, has some little bit of design to it right there, and a piece right there where you will actually tie on to the actual lure itself here. Now, one of the things about this that's making it really look unique here is that it's a spoon, and it has a shape of a spoon and a design of a spoon. So the real question about this particular lure going through heavy cover and moss, the question is going to be, can it actually get through heavy moss and get through lily pads and not get snagged up? Because there's nothing here that actually secures it, but that doesn't mean it can't do the work. So what we're going to do is have to take this one out, do some testing on it, and then give you my thoughts on it. So there it is. There's the Moss Boss, and we will go from there. Okay, there was your review of the Heddon Moss Boss. Now, I like that lure because it's very smooth and contoured, and it can slide through the lily pads. It doesn't look quite like an animal or some type of prey item, but the way it looks, the way it moves, the way it kind of is positioned in the water column in those lily pads, it definitely will create a reaction bite. Now, along with the Heddon Moss Boss, I got 2 other lures that are still in that number 3 category. And the first one here of those is the, look at that right there, it is the LunkerHunt Popping Frog right there. This little frog right here is also a number 3 for me as well, because this would be matching the hatch. This is something that those bass would see in those lily pads. Living in there would be this little frog right here. And when you're fishing in that kind of cover, you want to have something that's also very finessey, so that you can throw it right in there and slide across those lily pads and drop it in, and it makes a nice little plop in there. It's a popper, so it also pushes a little bit of water as well. So this one right here is definitely one that I would have. And then also another one that I love as well is the Chasebaits Bobbin Frog right here. The Chasebaits Bobbin Frog right here. This is another one, another version of a frog right here. Very lifelike, looks just like a frog right here with the legs and everything that are moving. Excellent right here. This one right here also has it's soft, and the hooks are pop out really clean. This one right here is another great frog. So if you don't have the Heddon Moss Boss, then maybe you can go with the LunkerHunt Popping Frog right here, or maybe you can go with the Chasebaits Bobbin Frog, because these are very finessey and they can get through the lily pads and get bit. So those 3 lures are my top 3 top water bass fishing lures for heavy cover. All right.
2.
All right, my number 2 top water bass fishing lure for heavy cover is, check it out, the LunkerHunt Spider right here. That's right. When you're talking about lily pads and heavy cover, there's a lot of vegetation. So the idea that a spider would be in that vegetation is totally possible. What I like about the LunkerHunt Spider is the actual legs itself. There's so much action, so much movement, but yet it has that treble, those actual frog hooks right built in right there. So this right here in that kind of heavy cover is an excellent lure to pull those bass in, because those bass, once again, are under the lily pads and they're looking up. And as they look up, and if they're near trees, then they know spiders and other little prey items could fall from the trees or could land in the water. And I have seen many times spiders literally dancing on top of the water, running across the water, and bass striking at them. So I started fishing with a LunkerHunt spider and had great success. Also, another number 2 here in the Topwater Lure for heavy cover category, and you've seen videos on it with me, is the Gizmo right here, the Evergreen Gizmo. This right here is an insect lure, and I really like this lure for lily pads. And you would think because it has an exposed hook that you couldn't use it. Well, the reason it works so well is because, hopefully you can see that right there, it has a weed guard right here. And so what you're trying to do when you're fishing heavy lily pads is you're casting to pockets. You're not trying to throw it wildly where it lands on the lily pads and you might get hung up. You're aiming for pockets and holes in the lily pads, because that's where these type of insects will end up landing. And so the bass are sitting under the lily pads, but they're gauging, they're looking diagonally up. And that's where this kind of lure could be very powerful, because it hits the water and it sits there and it pulsates. And you can just be pulsating your rod and not moving it and just shaking it a little bit, and you can see all that little action that occurs right there. So this lure, once again, mimics the insects that are in the water that are on the lily pads and around the lily pads. So this is another great lure that you can use. So the LunkerHunt Spider and the Evergreen Gizmo are my number 2 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover.
1.
All right, and my number 1 topwater bass fishing lure for heavy cover is the Dual Realis Samushi Cicada Bug. That's right, a cicada bug. And notice, it comes with multiple hooks on it. It comes with treble hooks on here. The reason that this is my number 1 is because, once again, dragonflies and winged insects fly over lily pads, covered areas, trees, laydowns. These dragonflies fly, they pause, they hover, and they land. When they get in trouble in the water, they start to kick, trying to get themselves back up in the water. That kicking motion is what triggers those bass. This particular lure right here, I can contribute it to well over a 4-pound bass that just came up and exploded on it because it hit the water and it struggled. When you're fishing heavy cover, once again, you're looking for pockets. This is about you really taking your time and casting with accuracy, whether it's a bait caster or a spinning setup. You want to be accurate here. So normally for myself, I have a 7-foot rod spinning combo. I'll have 8-pound braid, and I'll be throwing this, and I'll really be focusing on following through on my throws so that I'm throwing right to that open spot in the water. And I want that lure to sit there and pulsate for a while. I want to move it, I want to shake it because it's got a rattle in it, and I want them to come and notice it there. And then I'll start to reel it back toward me as it moves through those lily pads. And I'm really trying to find little angles and little open areas where I can throw it in and bring it back out. Sometimes you're going to have to cast into a spot. You're only going to have a foot, maybe 2 feet of open area. Then you're going to have to yank the lure and bring it all the way back so that you don't lose the lure. I've done that many times fishing in lily pads because I'm trying to hit that one little spot. And when you have one of these kind of lures here that can crawl and really make the most of that space, you have a great opportunity to hook into something big. Remember, these bass are hiding under lily pads. Insects, frogs, they see all of this. This is what they pursue. This is what they're chasing. So that's why you got to have lures that really do match the environment that those bass are living in. So this right here, the Dual Realis Samushi Cicada lure, is my number 1 topwater bass fishing lure for heavy cover. All right, there you have it. My top 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. Starting in the back here at number 5 is the 13 Fishing Trash Panda. At number 4, the Berkley Power Pop 70 Frog. The number 3 is the LunkerHunt Popping Frog, the Chasebaits Bobbin Frog, and of course the Heddon Moss Boss. At number 2 is the Evergreen Gizmo LunkerHunt Spider. And number 1 is the Dual Realis Shamushi Cicada Lure. And those are my top 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. All right, we're back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed my top 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover. For a lot of you guys out there, some of my lures may have been a surprise for the type of cover that I've been describing here. But I really believe that matching the hatch and matching what those bass see and forage with is very important to you being successful with your topwater. Yes, you will get hung up at times. You might even lose some lures along the way, but you'll learn a lot along the way. And what I learned is that it's worth the risk because of the type of bass that are in those lily pads and what they will potentially hit if they see it. So the risk is definitely, the risk is worth it, you know, because of the reward that can happen. So I just want everyone to understand that. Also, in the description box, you'll be able to see each of those lures in action. You'll either see me do a review of it, or you'll actually see me fishing with it, and you'll see in the description box, I'll give you a full breakdown on each of those lures, and you'll get all the information you want on that. Now, the next thing up here, next Monday, I'll be coming out with my next bass fishing video, and this one I'm really excited about, and I know you guys are too. It is the Chasebaits Drunken Mullet, and this is the Golden Shiner. Now, we talked about the Whopper Plopper, but boy, wait till you see this lure in action. I'm putting in some work on it, and I'm really excited about this lure and what it did on my day out fishing. So be sure to tune in next Monday, because that's when I'll be featuring this lure here, and you'll be seeing me catching fish on it and talking about it in much more detail. Also, what I've decided to do is something else. Because people ask me a lot of questions about topwater bass fishing, I've even been asked about merchandise, and I don't really have anything particularly ready, but what I did was I created some designs. And what I'd love for you guys to do, if you're watching this video, I would love for you to get your opinion about these designs. So what I'm going to do is put them on the screen right now, and you're going to see 2 different designs. And what I'd love to know is your thoughts about it. Would you wear a shirt with this design on it? And one of the designs, as you'll see right here, it's I love topwater bass fishing. So you're able to see that design right there. And the shirts can come in black or white. Then I got another shirt that I'm going to show you, and it should be up there right now. And that one is what I call last cast, I promise. And isn't that really funny? Like a phrase that a lot of fishermen say, this is my last cast, I promise. So I created these 2 different designs, and what I'm interested in knowing is your thoughts about them. Would you wear a shirt with those designs on it? And which one do you like the most? Because what I'd like to do is create some shirts that I'm able to offer up to you guys to purchase. And so I'd love to get your opinion about it so that I know that I'm going in the right direction. So once again, you saw the shirts in the comment section below. Please leave a comment. What's your thoughts? Which shirt do you like? Which kind of phrase do you like? And also maybe even probably what color shirt do you like? So that's some of the things that I'm working on there. Also, please be sure to be a part of the text alert. That's 31996 and then the word topwater. That puts you on our alert team so that when I drop things, you'll be alerted of it. When I do giveaways, you'll be alerted of it as well. So that's really all that I've got for us this time here. But I really want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching the videos, leaving comments. I try to comment back to everybody. I try to offer as much advice and guidance as I can on topwater, because I'm always growing and I'm always learning. And also, I already showed you some lures in my previous video that I'm working on right now, but I just got done placing another order to the hookup tackle, and I got some really cool stuff that they're sending to me as well. So once again, I'm gonna have some more lures to review and fish to get us through the year here. So I'm really excited about that as well. If there's any lures that you have questions about, please leave comments. Please leave your, just your comments about it as well. But I just want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. But I just want to thank everybody for being a part of this and allowing me to do something that I love, which is fishing, and specifically topwater bass fishing. So once again, this is Topwater Johnny saying that phrase, keep your line tight, because when you hit those topwater lures, especially one of those 5 topwater bass fishing lures for heavy cover, it's going to be a big bite. All right.